Hey everyone, welcome back to the GitHub Actions series. So far you have learned how to trigger workflows, use actions, and set up a full CI/CD pipeline. But now it's time to refactor all the repetitive logic and reuse workflows across repos. In this video, I'll show you how to create reusable workflows in GitHub Actions using workflow call, how to pass inputs, and how to call them from other projects, making your automation cleaner, drier, and easier to maintain. So firstly, why we need reusable workflows? Let's say you have got 5 microservices. Each needs a CI/CD pipeline that needs a few repetitive steps. For example, check out code, set up Node.js, and run tests. Right now, maybe you have copied some steps into every repo, but this violates our don't repeat yourself principles. So reusable workflows solve this by letting you define a CI template once and use it anywhere. Okay, so let's jump in and build our first reusable workflow. So this is the syntax of creating a reusable workflow. So there are a few things that you need to notice here. The first one is the trigger. So this job will be triggered using a workflow call. The next thing is inputs. Yes, we can even pass inputs. So for example, I have two repos. One uses Node version 14 and the other one uses Node version 18. But yeah, we can use the same workflow and we can just call this workflow using a different input. So if once we call it using Node version 14, then it will set up the node environment for Node version 14. And similarly, in the other project, if we want Node version 18, so we can call this function using Node version 18 and it will set up that environment. So this is how you can use inputs in your reusable job logic. So this is how you can call this workflow from another repository or another file. So all you need to do is use uses and then the whole path to that file @main. And we also need to pass the node version, right? So with node version 18, and just like that, this will call that job, which will set up your Node.js environment, and you won't be repeating it like multiple times, right? So all you need to do is call these 4 lines and it will do the magic. Let's jump into the demo. Firstly, I will create a new file and I'll name the file as reusable.ci.yaml. So in here, I'll firstly name this workflow. Next, we want this to run on workflow call, workflow_call. And we also want to use inputs here that inputs our Node.js version. So I'll add inputs, node version, required true, type is string. So this required true means we always need to provide a input node version and the type of that input will be a string. So here I will paste all my CI jobs. So what this job does is it checks out the code, then setups node version 18 and then runs my tests. But we do not want this node version 18, right? We want this to be dynamic, that we are passing from here. So what we can do here is we can add $inputs.node version. So now this will be dynamic. So this is our reusable CI job. Now we want to call this job in another workflow. So to do that, again, I will create a new file. I'll name the file as deploy.yaml. On this file, what I want is I want to deploy my code, but only when all my tests are passing. I'll name the workflow as test and deploy. Let's say I want to run it on every push. Now I'll add my jobs here. So the first job will be to call our reusable CI job that will test our application running all our unit as well as integration tests. So I'll name this job as use reusable. Now here we want to add our GitHub organization, then our repo. So if you are not sure what these are, what you can do is you can go to your GitHub dashboard and right here you will be seeing this. So this is the name of your organization and this is the name of your repository. So I'll copy these, add it here. Next is a /.github/. /workflows / the name of this reusable workflow file. So reusable ci.yaml at main. So what does this main means? This main means this file is in the main branch, and this job will try to pull this file from your main branch. Okay, I'll save this. Next, we also need to pass our input. So that is node version, and it's a string, and let's say it's 20. Now after this, I will add all my deployment stuff. I'll paste it here and fix the indentation. So all this does is it firstly checks out the code, setups my node environment, and then deploys my code to Vercel. Okay, so now I'll save all this and push it. And now let's go to our GitHub dashboard and create a pull request. I'll keep the name of the pull request as it is. I'll keep the description as blank, as this is just a tutorial. And I'll click on create pull request. Okay, I cannot see my workflow here. Let's see what's going on. So let's go to checks, and over here deploy.yaml has one issue. So let's check what this issue is. Okay, so it is saying that this workflow is not found, and this is completely expected. Why? It is trying to find this file in my main branch, right? But this file is not yet in the main branch. It is currently in the branch I am working on. So what I will do is I will merge this pull request. And now I'll create a new pull request. So to do that, I'll create a new branch first. So it's a test branch, and just to test it, I'll go to my readme file and I will add some change here, and then I'll push it. Okay, now let's again go to our dashboard and create new test pull request. Okay, now this time you can see here test and deploy is running. So let's open this. So here, as you can see, it has two jobs. The first one is use reusable. So let's check its logs. So yeah, as you can see here, it did my checkout, setup node, as well as ran my tests. And since all my tests passed, it triggered this next job, which is to deploy, and the deployment job is also successful. So this is it. This is how you can use one reusable workflow multiple times. All you need is these lines, and that whole job will be triggered. Okay, so this is we were doing in the same repository, but it's exactly the same process if you want to call a workflow from another repository as well. The only thing you need to make sure is that you provide the correct path to that reusable workflow file. And that's how you can use reusable workflows in GitHub Actions to refactor your automation and go fully dry. Once you have a library of reusable workflows, you will never copy and paste again. Just reference and go. It's faster, cleaner, and scales beautifully. So what are the best practices? First of all, you should always keep your logic generic so that it will be easily reusable in your multiple repositories, in your multiple workflows. And as always, avoid hard coding any secrets, and you can use outputs to return values from your reusable workflow, which you can use in your further steps. And you can also combine this with your environment configs. Okay, so how you can actually return outputs from reusable workflows. So this is one of the examples of using outputs from your reusable workflow. So here, as you can see, we can use the test to further customize your workflows. And that's how you use reusable workflows in GitHub Actions to refactor your automation and go fully dry. Once you have a library of reusable workflows, you will never copy and paste again. Just reference and go. It's faster, cleaner, and scales beautifully. Thanks for watching. And up next in the series, we will be discussing about self-hosted runners and some advanced tips. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you want an episode on reusable workflow libraries or GitHub Actions monorepo strategies. Thanks everyone, and I'll catch you in the next one.